everyone, welcome back to the AddMeGamers channel. Of course, this is Dan. Today I'm going to be continuing the players tips and FAQs. This is part 2. I would recommend you watch part 1 before watching this, and if you have watched the first one, let us get started with the second one. Now, another cool tip to keep in mind is if you're up against a boss, or if you are up against the boss. I think I just lost all my actual scrolls. Yeah, the update seems to have eaten all my scrolls. No, here they are. So, if you're up against the boss, or you know a boss is going to be there, or you have a hard location, it's always good to throw down a portal scroll. That's what I do when I'm in a boss area, or the boss is just about to pop up. I throw down a scroll in that actual location where he is. So if I die, I can teleport myself directly back to the location of the boss, and I don't have to run through the whole thing again. So that's a cool thing. Now, another cool tip is, in case you are up against the boss, again, drop down a portal, and when you do run out of your potions, you just go back to town, you jump in the portal, you jump back to town, your potions automatically fill up, then you jump back in the portal again immediately, and once you show up where the boss is, you drop down another portal, so you can jump back to refill your flasks in case that happens. Now, that's pretty cool. Yes, you are spamming the portal scroll just to fill up your flasks every time it runs out, but that does keep you alive, and you do keep your flasks full, so that's also quite a useful tip. Now, let's jump down to the gems. The gems you can obviously level up by killing stuff. Now, as you kill stuff, you gain experience, and the actual gem itself gains experience, as you do see here. I'm at 39,762 from 405,000, which is the max level for this gem. Keep in mind, leveling your gem all the time isn't the best solution, as every time you level it up, of course, it's gonna start requiring higher stats, and probably will consume more mana. So keep that in mind. So sometimes it might be better to a certain point to stop leveling your gem. That's what I have done, for example, with my arc gem. It's already consuming quite a lot of mana, and I'm pretty satisfied with where it is now. Maybe later on, when I get better charges, better mana regen, I'll continue leveling it up. So far, now, to level up your gem, of course, you do have the plus sign here, which you can click, but in case you don't have it here, which I don't think so, you will also find it in your inventory at the bottom side, so you can also level up your gem from here. So that's also a good thing to keep in mind. Now, the support gems, they can give you extra projectiles, drops, sorry, but of course they need to be actually linked with your weapon. So, for example, I have an arc, which I'm doing now. I'm doing arc wizard, and I have my support gems, which is added lightning and my actual increased critical damage. And as you see, they have to be linked with my actual weapon to give me that boost. You know, so in case you do want to add these type of support gems, make sure they actually have a link, so they actually do affect and improve the actual buff of your character. Now, let's give you another example. If you got a bow, you have increased damage and increased drop rate. And if you want to increase projectiles, make sure it's socketed in that item. Now, support gems such as buffs can pretty much be put anywhere. So if I have a buff such as clarity, whereas it's here, I just throw it anywhere. It doesn't really matter. You know, you can add lightning damage if you're not actually doing it. Keep that in mind. Or you can add fire damage if you're not actually doing it. So if I have increased lightning damage, but I'm pretty much doing fire, it won't really add lightning damage. You know, if you have, I don't know, increased elemental damage, and I'm not doing any elemental, I'm a melee guy with no actual elemental damage, it won't do that. So make sure you're actually doing that type of damage when you're adding that support gem to it. Now, you can increase the area of effect if you have an area cast item. Of course, keep in mind, if you have a support gem that increases the area, make sure the actual item has an area effect already. Make sure the actual criteria attribute is already there. You can, like for example, this item doesn't have an increased area of effect, so even if I add in a gem, it won't really increase anything. So keep that in mind. Now, the support gems, it will only count the highest support gem if you add more of the same type into it. So stop wishing it ain't gonna happen. That doesn't mean you can't stack up different types of gems. So for example, I have this staff, and if I just wanted to increase more lightning, if I added, instead of this one, if I added another lightning, it would only count the highest level gems. So this one is level 7, and let's say, for example's sake, the other lightning would be level 8. So it would only count the level 8, and it would not count the actual total of lightning bonus between the two, because that's just blatant abuse and it won't work. So pretty much one support gem of one type will only work in that current item itself. So keep that in mind. You can't spam all the same types of support gems in that same item. So that's just not happening. Now you can get scrolls of identity only by drops. Yes, you have plenty of blues in the beginning, but don't worry, you won't be able to identify them. But later on, you'll have so many scrolls coming in Act 2 that there will pretty much be no difference. And still till now I'm in Act 3, I'm finding it a little bit hard to get all the identifying scrolls in terms of all the blues that I want. But at the end of the day, you will realize to only identify the items that actually probably will be the most useful to you, and that's pretty much it. But sooner or later you will be getting plenty of scrolls, and as you do see, I have more than enough portal scrolls dropping so far. Now another question asked is, what is the difference between arrows and projectiles? Well, multiple projectiles, for example double strike, it increases the number of arrows being shot. So for example, if I'm shooting out an arrow and I have increased projectiles, instead of one arrow I'm going to be shooting out 3 arrows. Now if you have the lesser increased projectile, you'll have probably, I don't know, 2 arrows. If you have the greater multiple projectiles, you may be shooting out 6 arrows. Now the same principle applies with spells. If I add a multiple projectile spell, if I have a gem that's a lesser or a greater, so if I add a lesser projectile to this staff, it means obviously I'm going to have to remove one of these gems, and I'm going to put there, instead of shooting one of my arcs, one of my lightning arcs, I'm going to be shooting, let's say, 2 or 3. But if I have the greater, I'm going to be shooting 5 lightning arcs. Now keep in mind, of course, that has a massive mana penalty. So for example, I'm going to probably need plus 150% additional mana cost for the lesser, I believe, projectile. So I did check that out, so that's pretty cool to keep in mind. Yes, you can increase more fireballs, but it does obviously cost you. But think of all the great possibilities that can come with this. Now if you hold down the key to cast a spell while casting, it'll keep casting the actual spell itself. So that's something I don't know if everyone knows. Let's jump to it. If I'm going to hold down Q all the damn time, I'm going to keep casting this until it runs out. So as you see, I'm keeping my hand on Q, so that's pretty cool. Now the maps that you go into, they close every 15 minutes if they're empty. So for example, I'm in this map, the actual status and all the dead monsters are going to be saved on the ground. But if I'm out for 15 minutes, the whole thing is going to restart, and I'm going to lose all my progress in my tabs, or all the things that I actually scouted out. So keep in mind, after 15 minutes it restarts. Now another thing to keep in mind is that in regards to the actual 15-minute map thing, that if you do come back to town and you chill out for 15 minutes and you come back using a town portal, after 15 minutes your actual map will restart, and your actual scroll, the portal scroll, will vanish. So when you're going to come back to the location like here, you'll notice that the portal scroll won't be there. That's because you passed your 15-minute mark and the actual portal scroll will vanish. And that will happen obviously because the portal scroll, the entrance is to the map, which just got restarted. So that's a nasty thing that also does happen. And now let's go to the actual gems and sockets. When you're using your chromatic orb, which is it's a very nice colorful one, it actually changes the colors of your sockets. Now when you right click it and then you left click your item, it randomly changes the color of your sockets. Of course it is more it's more prone to changing to the color that you have, or that your character is built to. So for example, I'm more of an intelligent character, so pretty much there's a higher chance of rolling blue sockets. As you see, I have all 3 blues. So for example, if I had an armor here, armor set with 4 sockets, if I rolled a chromatic orb, I'd most probably get a blue. You know, if I rolled another one, I'd probably get more blues, maybe all blues. Now keep in mind, the chromatic orb doesn't actually allow you to select a specific socket to change color. It rolls all the sockets, and all the sockets color are changed randomly. So that's one thing that sucks. So you can't really tell. You might, for example, I have 3 blues, and if I'd want to change 2 blues and 1 green, and I start rolling it, of course I have to remove all of the gems, and I start rolling with the chromatic orb, I can't guarantee to get that mix. It means first time I might roll it, I might just get all 3 reds, you know, and then next time I might get 2 greens and 1 blue. You know, you never know. You can't specifically change a single socket to a different color. It just rolls all the sockets randomly and changes all the sockets randomly. Of course, it does tend to change to the color that your character is built to, but again, you can't change each individual socket specifically. Now, of course, this doesn't apply to only the chromatic orb. It applies to all the other stuff. It's all random, so this is really a pain in the ass, but this is the way it is. So if I have the orb of fusing to make the links, if I have a 4-socketed one here and I want to make links, again, I can't select which link I want to add, where I want to add the link. It again randomly makes re-rolls all the links between all the sockets. So if you have a 6-socketed item and you want to re-roll all the 6 links, and you want to make like a 6-linked item, hell, you could be using like 40 of these to try to get all the 6 sockets linked, and you still won't get them linked because every single time you do it, it randomly rolls all the 6 links. The same principle applies, of course, to all the other stuff. So, but mainly, of course, the fusing and the orb, people presume that you can actually choose the link and choose the color. No, you can't. It re-rolls the whole item. So if you're reliant on blue, keep in mind you have a risk of losing all your blue slots. So I might actually end up using my last chromatic orb and I won't get even a single blue back. So I might actually screw my item up even more. So that is a risk. Keep that in mind when you're doing this. What else is there? Yes, I have to thank Heidi O Sensei for this actual small little table I'm gonna throw up here. This table pretty much shows you what the ratio of stuff that you sell to the vendor will give you what item when you do get it back. So you get 5 items for a single scroll of wisdom and so on and so forth. It's pretty cool for like the basic stuff in case you want to know what to sell, you will get back. I might throw up a proper receipts video later on, but now I'm just going through the actual basic stuff. Now, another good tip, it's always better to drink your flasks and alternate between them. Don't try to empty your flasks, because every time you kill a monster, it refills a bit. So try not to completely drain your flasks. Leave at least 1 charge left. Always jump to different flasks, and as you're killing them, they start charging up. Obviously, it's much better to keep your flasks with at least 1 charge and not emptying it out. Now, the skills. Let's now jump to the actual skills. Of course, you can allocate the skills by left-clicking an item. Okay, so that's pretty good. You left-click an item and then you allocate your skills. If you mess up, there are a few ways that you can respec your skills. You get an orb of regret, which is extremely valuable. So if you guys are new and you have an orb of regret, you can ask a lot for it, and not a single gem. An orb of regret is not worth a single gem. That's not at all. An orb of regret is very, very valuable. Okay, so keep that in mind. You can ask a hell of a lot more for it. Now, in Act 1 and Act 2, you have a few quests that actually allow you to get 2 respec points. So let's go back to the skill tree. You automatically get 2 respec points when you complete it. Now, in Act 1, you have a quest called Fitted Pool Quest. You get that from Tarkly, and when you complete that, you get 2 respec points for free in your actual skill tree. And then for Act 2, you have Through Sacred Grounds. Once you complete this, you get another 2 respec points from Yina. So once you complete this, it's pretty cool, because then when you go to your passive skill tree, you'll see 2 respec points left. So that is 4 respec points per difficulty. This is just so far what I know. And you have Orb of Regret. They drop very rarely, and you get those as well. And I do presume, I'm not sure, I read somewhere on the forum, when you're actually going up against those bandits in Act 2, where's that? When you're going up against the bandits, if you agree to help them, if you agree to help one of them and then you kill him later, you get 2 respec points again. I'm not sure. I read somewhere that this is also possible to get 2 more from the bandits. I'm not sure exactly which one it is or how it is, but somebody mentioned somewhere on the forum that you can get 2 more respec points by telling to one of them that you'll help him, and at the end you'll kill him, and you get 2 more respec points for that. So that's still not verified. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed part 2. All these things that I'm mentioning might change, might not change, but I hope it is useful. As always, happy gamings. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and see you guys later. Bye.